Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we proudly present our spectacular show of podcast magic and imagination full of Disney wonder, news, and pop culture. It's the Main Street Electrical Podcast with Jenn Dave and David Dollar.
Well, hey, Jen.
Hey, Dave.
It's the Main Street Electrical Podcast. It's that time of the year. It's Christmas. Of course, you got the background behind you, the Disneyland Small World facade. And of course, I've got Main Street Walt Disney World right behind me. They kind of flow together into a Christmas menagerie of sorts. If you're watching on YouTube, of course. If you're not watching on YouTube, listen to this episode and then go watch it on YouTube because you should.
Because, you can see it.
It's been a few weeks. How are you?
Well, it's been like 2 weeks, but yes, right. I am
Two kind of means the same thing. So
I'm like really tired, but good.
Yeah, because you've been all over this place.
I've
You've been all over this great country of ours, from one coast to the next. And
literally.
So, yeah, we'll get into that in a few minutes. Jen, how did you Disney in the last 2 weeks?
Oh my gosh. Well,
how did you not Disney in the last 2 weeks?
I was going to say that would probably be the better question. Let's see. I Disneyed in Disney World and then Disneyland. And now I'm wearing a Disneyland sweatshirt.
Right.
And my Chip and Dale Christmassy socks that I got. And I'm drinking out of a water bottle that I got at my owner's conference.
Nice.
So I've had and then in a different way, we went antiquing this weekend and we found a 1979 original lunchbox with the thermos. It's a Magic Kingdom lunchbox.
And that's awesome. Well, you have my address. You can just pop it in the mail whenever. It doesn't have to get here by Christmas. Just send it regular mail. It's fine.
That's really nice of you. Thanks.
Yeah. So you showed up at Disney World, what, the 30th of November?
30th. Well, we flew into Orlando the 30th. Yes.
Okay, 30th of November. So you were on property by the morning of the 1st or whatever. And then, of course, you were there till the 5th, and then you flew directly from there to Anaheim. And then you got back, what, 3 or 4 days ago? You were in Anaheim till what, the 10th?
The 9th. I got back late the 9th.
Right. So basically you spent 1/3 of the month in Disney parks.
I did.
Which is not bad.
It's not sad. So, I mean, a lot.
It's a long time to be away from home. And so
it was.
Like I was begging you to figure out how to get to a Disney park just for an hour and then go to the airport and fly off to Anaheim. But
But I refused because I was like, that's just too much.
So it has been, of course, 2 weeks since we were podcasted. We were trying to make it work. We had gone 133 weeks for every week doing an episode. We were like so proud, and it just did not work. And of course, quasi-producer Heather was like, "Why don't you do something real quick? Just do a 20-minute whatever." And I'm like, I don't want to just be like, "Hey, let's talk about Disney for 20 minutes." Jen's not here, but I'll talk for 20 minutes just to get an episode out. I'm like, let's just wait. We'll do it this week. We'll play catch up this week, and that's what we're gonna do. We've got a lot to talk about, of course, and I Disney by doing the same thing, except really only half of the same thing, because I was in Disney World as well with the team, with the whole group. Got to see my precious Kyla, like always. Got to see all of our friends that are out there. And of course, you are the most awesome agency owner ever, which is great.
Thanks.
And so we had a good time there seeing our good friend, the I guess my grand boss, the boss Marcy was there. So we got to see some other Disney people, some higher ups.
And your great grand boss was there.
Yes, we got to see them, got to see that guy. And so we did some resort tours. We got lots of pictures, spent lots of park time, hit the party, did a Surrey bike, which
my gosh, hilarious.
Was fantastic. So I do want to mention something that I think is kind of fun here at the top of the show. As you're walking around the boardwalk or Port Orleans Riverside or the places, you see those people on those little bikes, those pedal bikes with a cover, and you're like, they're Surrey bikes, basically. From I remember, it makes me think of the musical Oklahoma, Surrey with a fringe on top and such. I hated that musical. And so I'm like, so we're walking and myself, and it's Kyla, and there's our agent Clint Smith, and there's our Emily, who is the owner and proprietor of Bluebird Gifting Company, by the way. Make sure you follow her on Instagram, and we'll have to put her stuff on the website, so you can follow her for all your gifts, all your deliveries, things like that. She's amazing. She's not terrible like some other people. She is fantastic. So definitely call Emily. And also, of course, we had our agent Meredith. We're all together, and somebody, I think it was Kyla, had the bright idea of, hey, let's do a Surrey bike. None of us had ever done it before. Sure, why not? So we go over to the Surrey bike rental at the boardwalk. There's 5 of us, and Clint Smith's a big dude. He's kind of a big guy, so they're like, yeah, it can hold 6. I'm like, no, it can't hold 6. It's going to hold 5, maybe. So all the girls crammed in the back. Clint and I got in the front. And it was like $25, which is not bad. And with an annual pass discount, which our friend, one of them had, Emily had, it was like $22, and so it was great. So if the audience, if you know the boardwalk, you have that long sidewalk that goes to the bridge. When you go over the bridge, you take a left and go to Yacht and Beach Club, or take a right, go to Epcot. You can follow it in one big circle. There's another bridge. You can go over the bridge and take a right, go to Swan Dolphin, take a left, go back to the boardwalk where you started. So it's one big circle. And we're all pedaling and pedaling and pedaling. And by the way, this thing is a lot tougher than it looks. We're honking the horn, not knocking people, but getting people out of our way. We go up that first hill, which you don't really recognize as a hill until you're on a Surrey bike with 5 people. Exhausting. We get over the hill finally. We come back down, and we're all just like, it's ridiculous. We're all tired. So we get to the second hill. We can't get up the second hill. We just can't. It's just too much. So we turned back around. We ran into yourself and Brady, which you guys were just having a delightful time watching us, I'm sure.
Oh yes. We were enjoying
those
that.
are my agents, and they're a bunch of idiots. That's amazing.
I was like, I don't. Oh, there they come. Oh, yep. There they are.
You guys hopped on the front of the thing.
We
It
sure
didn't last
did.
very long because it was like, oh, this is probably a dangerous thing. And so we're coming back around, back to the original bridge, to go back over the bridge, to come back to boardwalk, to drop this crazy thing off. And we get halfway up the hill, and it's just, again, it's like, ugh. So here comes 2 guests, a man and a woman, in their Mickey yellow rain slicker. Remember the yellow rain jackets?
Oh,
The Mickey yellow rain slickers. So they come running over to us, and they're like, hey, we're going to help. So they start pushing as we're pedaling. And somewhere along the way, the guy behind me goes, are you guys even pedaling? And we're like, yes, we're pedaling. And poor Clint Smith is just leaned over, and he's like, again, big dude. He's like 6'5", he's massive. And so Meredith in the back seat, and she's just like, oh my gosh, you let me drive. You guys can't do it, whatever. So we all switch up, and so the girls get in the front, and they try to drive, and it's exhausting. We get back to drop the thing off. We've been gone maybe 25 minutes. I want to say it's a 30 or 35-minute rental, but when we picked it up, the guy was like, it's like 9:15. Don't worry about it. He's like, just whenever you be back.
I mean, because like really nobody else was
exactly.
going to be.
They close at 10. They got several bikes, whatever, and we get there. And the guy was as nice as could be. And of course, we all hop off, and we're all breathing hard. And I asked the gentleman, I'm like, so is this what you usually see? People getting on the bikes all excited and getting off the bikes exhausted? And I no joke, he says to me, oh yes, this is exactly what I see every time. And it's my favorite. It's hilarious. Everybody comes off winded and exhausted. They don't expect it. It's hilarious. And he's laughing at us, and we're just like,
you're like dying.
We're all sweaty, and we're covered in sweat. All of us so if you do the Surrey bike, just know it's a lot harder than you think it's going to be. A lot harder than it is. It's not very expensive. Maybe, I would say the optimal maybe would be 4, because your weight would be as much. You got 4 people pedaling, put 5 people on there. Suddenly it's like you got an extra person's body weight on there. It's a bigger bike. It's heavy, and or just don't do it. Just don't do it.
I just think it was hilarious.
Yeah, it's crazy. Make sure you go follow Meredith _UAS over on TikTok, because I think she put that up under her TikTok.
I'm pretty sure I'm
pretty sure great. It's pretty fantastic. Great. So let's talk about some news. So nothing major happening here, but a lot of little small things we want to mention. Of course, Splash Mountain, the final splash on January 22nd. It will be closed on the 23rd. I got to ride it one final time, as did you.
As did
one final time.
Yep,
likely the last time I'll ride it in its current iteration, unless I somehow find my way back. I don't know how it'll happen, but unless you call me back and you're like, hey, I'm going to send you on an agency retreat, and you get to sleep in Cinderella's castle for the weekend. I'll ride Splash Mountain then, but otherwise, that's it. So it will become Tiana's Bayou Adventure over the next year and a half or so, opening up late 2024. So if you have not been to Disney World and you want to go, get down there, ride it one more time, because it will completely go away, and it kind of needs to. The upkeep there's no upkeep.
Right. Yeah. There were so many
broken
features that were broken.
And I get it. And it's like,
well, and I get whenever they know they're going to change it anyway. Of course, they're not going to use the resources.
I mean, I'm like, there's one scene where Bert Fox, his bottom lip is just flapping, like just up and down flapping as it's moving. There's no synchronization to the words. It's just loosely flapping, and I'm like, just keep it from moving. I mean, if that's the case, it looks hideous. Anyway, so there's that. The DuckTales Showcase Adventure will be opening up sometime very soon. Actually, if you're listening to this on Thursday, it's going to open up for you on Friday. It's a brand new adventure happening over in Epcot called the Disney's Ducktail World Showcase Adventure. The reimagined adventure invites guests to join Scrooge McDuck, Donald Duck, Launchpad, Webby, and the Nephews in search of a priceless treasure using the Play Disney Parks mobile app. Do people even know that exists anymore? The Play Disney Parks mobile app.
If you go to Star Cruiser, you do.
That's true. Guests take a trip around the World Showcase, discovering exotic destinations, exciting mysteries, and maybe even a few thieves, villains, and even more. This, of course, takes the place of the Kim Possible adventure. And then, of course, most recently, it was the Agent P World Showcase adventure, which back then you had little flip phones you had to get. You would deposit it. You would pick one up, and then you would deposit a little kiosk. Now you just use your regular phone for it. Did you do any of the original iterations?
I did. I did the I did the Agent P. I was trying to remember if it was the Kim. I saw somebody do the Kim Possible version.
I've done the Kim Possible.
I personally did the Agent P.
I had a lot of fun with it. It's a lot of fun.
It was a good time.
Out of the 11 countries, there are 7 that are participating. Mexico, Norway, China, Germany, Japan, France, and United Kingdom. Every mission will take around 30 minutes to complete. And what you'll do basically is you pull it up on your app and you'll be inside the Mexico pavilion. You have to look for clues. You're trying to solve the challenge. You're trying to get certain things. I haven't done this, obviously, so I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen. But it's kind of the same system. And what I like about this is that with Kim Possible and Agent P, those are properties that they knew would not last forever. They knew they eventually would kind of go out of phase and kind of whatever. And so Agent, with the Phineas and Ferb, that went out. Kim Possible has been around for 15, 20 years. DuckTales, I think it's something long-term. They can have this in 10 years, I think. Because
DuckTales has been around. I mean, that was when we were kids. They brought it back. I'm sure. I mean, I don't think that's something that's going away. It's a classic. It's still one of the more classic characters.
Yeah, this is something that will be around for a while. And with it being in your phone, they can update the app, update the adventures, that kind of thing. So I think that's something it's going to be pretty cool. I might actually try to play one of these next time I go down, just to see what happens. Keeping it over in Epcot, the Tafiti statue has been brought in and installed. She's a 16-foot beauty, put right there in the middle of Epcot in the not World Showcase, but Future World or the World Neighborhood or whatever we're called. I don't know.
That one's going to be World Nature. I just literally took notes on this. So the nature side is the one that has like Soarin', the seas. Okay, that's right. World Discovery is going to be Test Track Mission Space, Guardians. World Celebrate. I want to say that the Tafiti statue, that's going to still be part of the neighborhood for nature.
You mean Future World? Got it. So it's the 16-foot statue that you can't really see when you're walking around Epcot. You can definitely see it from the monorail. You might be able to see it from the top of her head over the fencing and stuff. But Moana Journey of Water opening up next year, and it's a large footprint. That's a large area. So
it is a big area, which I'm not surprised because
I don't know exactly what all they're doing, but it's a definite large area. So
I mean, of course, we've seen the renderings that they've released, and I mean, I don't think it's going to be a small area, but that was a big area in general, like where the fountain was and all of that. There's a lot of space.
Would it be great if they just left the fountain there and suddenly it's a journey of water? Put the statue right in the middle of the fountain and,
I missed that fountain.
I don't think I would complain because the water dancing was great. The presentation they had.
Loved that. I did.
Lots of fun. Genie Plus, the much maligned Genie Plus. We used it, of course, our families, the DAS Pass users. We used it one time on our trip. The rest of the time we didn't. We just did DAS Pass. We just found it just as easy. But the Genie Plus has now been readjusted. So if you have whereas before, if you had, say, a Lightning Lane for Soarin', and you're like, you know what? We got to do Soarin' first thing at Rope Drop. We can do Lightning Lane for something else. You had to delete Soarin' and then go back in and try to find something else. Now you can actually go look for something else while you're in Soarin'. So if you're in Soarin' in your app, and I'm not going to walk you through completely because I don't know all the fine details, but if you're in Soarin' in your Lightning Lane, you can look for something else and then replace it versus canceling, going a period of time for a few seconds with no Lightning Lane and then having something else, which has been kind of maddening before. And so, and the park reservations used to be that way. You had to delete one to find the other.
And then you couldn't even see, because if you delete it, you don't know you're getting it back.
Right. And now you can modify to see if something else is open, which is really nice.
Much better.
Crossing my fingers that it just goes away. That would be fantastic. We'll see. I don't know. Strange World, no other way for it. The massive Disney flop bomb.
I was going to say, I've not even.
I don't know. I haven't. Okay, so I do a movie podcast. I do a movie podcast, comes out every Wednesday as well. A Deuce Cast movie show. None of the guys on our show have seen it. we haven't heard anybody talk about it. Like, this is not even a movie that any of our listeners or any of our engagement people are like, oh, I've seen this movie. This is what I think. Like, I don't even know anybody that's seen this movie.
I literally don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen it. My theater, I'm sure, is showing it, but I don't know.
I was
I've not
going
heard
to try to
anything.
get to the theater to see it. Now we know it's going to be streaming on Disney Plus on December 23rd.
Oh, that's fast.
It's
That's
very fast. Well,
fast.
somebody said it was like the Encanto window, which was 45 days or so, but I don't think it was 45 days. No. This is like, because this premiered sometime in mid-November, and I feel as if this is maybe a 30-day window. I don't know for sure, but this is not. Disney is expected to take around a $150 million hit on this movie. Various reasons why it didn't do well, which we won't go into the fine details, but some people are saying the plot line and the storylines. Other people are saying it wasn't a movie that was for them. And the Disney did do marketing on it. I don't know if they foresaw a movie that wouldn't do well and they decided to pull back marketing. I don't know. But either way, it's going to get hit big. And so Strange World, December 23rd. I will watch it when it comes on streaming, though.
I would be curious to see it because I do typically watch. Granted, there are like 4 or 5 that I haven't seen, but I probably will at some point watch it just to see.
And we'll talk about
if
it.
I like it.
We'll see if we like it.
Maybe I will. Maybe I won't.
The long CVS receipt nightmare is over, Jen, at least in part. The new merch has been released for the Disneyland 100, and one of the things people are noticing is on the mini headband, the tags that were like literally 8 inches long that were coming on all the shirts and all the headbands and everything. The tags have now been shortened to a small, tiny little tag like normal. I don't know if this is going to be something here on out. But surely they have to understand that people hate these things because
I don't like to cut the tags off of my things, right? I joked when I bought that Jiminy Cricket at the 40th, Epcot 40, and they were like, do you want to keep this? I'm like, the CVS receipt, the scarf? No, I'm good.
Right. Well, the tag is bigger than Jiminy Cricket. When I bought my Orange Bird, my shoulder Orange Bird, the tag was longer than the Orange Bird. Like I could really put the scarf around the Orange Bird.
You could literally make it a scarf.
It's crazy. And of course, whenever we were going down and my wife was packing, she had I think 8 or 9 of her Mickey ears, like lined up on the bed, figuring out which one to take. She's handing me the scissors, and I was having to precisely cut the tags off to make sure that not only the tags were close, but there wasn't any like bit that would dig into her hair or whatever. And so, I had to cut those tags off. And it's just, thankfully, the tags are shortening. I'm hoping this is something that happens for all of them.
We don't need the tags to be that long.
Which, by the way, Jen, fun story for you, and you'll love this. Shop Disney had a big sale on a lot of their Christmas items this past week. We had some gift cards. We have a couple of discount promos that we were using our family with, so we actually able to save a little bit more money. And of course, my wife. This is what happens when my lovely Steph Leanne does shopping. She looks online and she'll tell me something that she really likes, and then she'll kind of follow it with, "Yeah, but it's kind of expensive, whatever." And blah blah blah. So of course, I go on a look, and I'm like, "Well, I might just buy this for her for Christmas and whatever." So I come downstairs and she's like, "Yeah, I went to Shop Disney earlier." "Oh, did you?" "Yeah, I did." This is a Dooney and Burke purse we're talking about, by the way. Dooney and Burke, a little Christmas Mickey mini Dooney and Burke. And so I come downstairs and she's like, "Yeah, I did some Shop Disney." So I looked at her and I said, Did you buy the purse?" Yeah, it was really cute. And I'm like, "You little Jen." So So this is she now has about 10 or 12 pairs of ears. She now has about 7 or 8 Dooney and Burke purses. Yeah. So
I mean, she's just,
I don't feel so bad paying $50 for my annual Sirius XM subscription now. I felt like that was a lot of money, but now I'm like, I'm good. So why not? So we had a lot going on. You and I both at Disney this over the last couple of weeks. It's been just a crazy amalgamation of Disney World, Disneyland, Christmas parties, and so on and so forth. So first, let's talk. And we can't recap everything because it would just take forever.
Right.
But let's talk about the Christmas party. Mickey's not so scary. No, Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party.
Wrong season.
Happening this year. Of course, the tickets themselves were about $160. So that is one thing that really
steep,
factored
right?
in. It's
steep.
It's a steep price. So we got there. I know the group I was with, we got there right after 7, a little before 7. So we got in there before the party started. You got there, I think, maybe a little bit before that. Not too long before that. But
not too long before that. I think like 6:30. Yeah.
So of course the party itself, it's a chance to meet characters you don't often get to meet. Jack and
Right.
Sally are there. Pooh and Tigger are there in their Christmas garb. Mickey and Minnie in their Christmas finery, and they're all there. Some of the princesses are walking around and such. Everybody's dressed in different decor. There's snowing on Main Street. They have these large inflatable candy canes. You go to a candy cane, they'll have cookies and stuff for you. They do have gluten-free options, by the way. That's not much more than that, but they do have gluten-free options. So if you are just gluten-verse, like our good friend Gluten-Free Cherie, you have an option there. Some places will have eggnog. Some places will have milk and hot cocoa. So there's cookies and treats all the way through. So there's that. The parade happens twice a night, which it's a fantastic parade. It's so much fun. It's Christmas parade.
It is, and it had changed since the last time I saw it.
Yeah, so they changed it up a little bit. The fireworks are spectacular, so those happen and everything. And just it's this overall festive cheer of like, it's Magic Kingdom at Christmas time. This is just, it's so much fun.
And some new things that I had seen since I'd last been to a Christmas party. Now, granted, I was not at either of the what did they call it last year?
The after hours,
the
Christmas
after whatever
meeting,
the I didn't go to either of those. Okay, so fair, just fair warning, I didn't. But like I loved over near Space Mountain, they had like lights, and they were playing a combination of Mannheim Steamroller and Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Yes.
Like which was really cool near the ride I don't like, the smelly one.
Oh, Stitch's Great Escape?
The Speedway. The Speedway. Yeah. However, they were running the Tron light cycle while we were there.
And you saw it. I did not get to see it running.
And
I
I
went to ride the
video.
People Mover just to see that. You need to send me that video so I can use it for my own purposes.
And I got it from the People Mover, which it was crazy. Like I was just filming, dun, dun, dun. I'm like, okay, well now we're getting to the construction. I'm gonna stop filming. I stopped filming. I saw it run. I was like, what? And then when we came back around, I just started filming, and I was like literally like turning my body. Like I'm like just like keep trying to watch. And then I did see it toward the end. And then I stood down like near the fence, and they were running it.
Two of the best places to see the Tron area is, of course, Tomorrowland Speedway. If you're on that, like you get close to it, you're able to get some pictures and stuff. Matter of fact, quasi-producer Heather went with somebody else, made the other person drive just so she could take video of that. She was like, I had to ride that stupid ride just so I could get video. And of course, taking the video off of the People Mover, which is great. I rode the People Mover. It wasn't running when I got on, so it was not too long after. And of course, when I got off, I saw the lights go on again. I'm like, of course, that's how this works.
That's that's how
it works. This time, and I will say this: one of the problems that they've had with the parties in recent years, and pre-pandemic, obviously, is that Disney was selling maybe too many tickets. I think. Maybe 2015, 2016, 2017, somewhere in there, they were selling a ton of tickets. There was a lot of complaints about it. Towards the end there, I want to say 18 or 19, I went to one of the parties, and it wasn't bad at all. And I felt like they really pulled back from selling so many tickets.
Yeah.
This crowd was not bad at all.
It was not.
It was a great
It was
crowd.
Not bad.
It was a lot of fun.
It was not shoulder to shoulder at all. I felt like we got on things pretty darn quickly. And it was cool to see the Space Mountain overlay, which I know you do. You don't ride Space Mountain, but I do.
I saw the overlay. I did see
Oh, you did ride Space Mountain. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You don't normally though.
Well, usually I do Space Mountain once a trip. I did it a couple times this year. We did it with Agent Kyla and our friend Kelly, and of course the second time I did it with the family, and so we got to ride it because my kid loves coasters, and so that was fun. So I rode it a couple times. But we saw the overlay. It's like a rave in there.
It is like a rave in there.
There's lights going on everywhere, just shining everywhere. It's crazy up in there, which it's kind of fun and festive, but it's like, whoa, what's happening here?
Right.
So there is a lot of that, but yeah, the crowds weren't bad. We were able to hop on most rides. Most rides were walk-ons.
Not Mine Train, rides, of course, but
Mine Train, but even that was like a 30-minute wait. Maybe
it wasn't
that long. So overall, okay. So for me, for the tickets, what I tell clients whenever they ask me, is it worth it? That's hard for me to answer, to tell anybody, oh, it's not worth it or is worth it.
Because it depends on your family.
Unless it's just a disaster. Oh my gosh, it's not worth it.
Right.
Or, yes, it's worth it. You get to tour Walt's apartment in Disney World and the Cinderella's Royal Suite. It's definitely worth it. Inside of that, there's a big middle there where it's like you have to decide if it's worth it or not. But I will tell people this, not that you can now because tickets are sold out for everything.
I saw that,
but
right.
If you decide to go, and if you have a ticket to go, if you're comfortable spending the money, I think it's worth it to go. I think it's a great party. The park closes at 6. Only the party goers get to go at 7 o'clock. They put wristbands on your wrists. You get a special map. We got a special poster as we were walking out. It was a lot of fun. It was great to be there with friends who all share the same interests and stuff. We're all getting cocoa. We're all getting drinks. We're all riding stuff together. A lot of pictures, a lot of fun things, a lot of magic shots. It's a fun environment to be a part of.
Yes.
I would go back next year. I'm sure they'll raise the tickets again. Who knows? But if the price is okay with me, I would go back next year. I did the Halloween party this year as well, and I thought that was fantastic. And so yeah, definitely. I think if you want to spend the money, this party it's worth it. It's a lot of fun. It's like you said, it's pricey, but I think it was a lot of fun. What did you think over the party overall?
Yeah, I will say that this was probably my favorite party that I've done in terms of Christmas party, like my favorite version of the Christmas party. I thought this was definitely worth it. I agree that and it was a sold out night. So it's not like, oh, well, all your tickets weren't sold out. No, our night was sold out and I did not feel like it was oversold. So at this point, I would say, if you have the funds, it's worth it. It's great to be able to get on the rides more quickly. I loved seeing some of the characters. I thought the Christmas parade was great. And it's cool, like, to see the overlays and just, all lit up and festive. And it's just, it's fun. I like being able to go to the hot cocoa and, cookies, because I love cookies and cocoa.
Of course.
More than candy. So.
Of course. And I don't know how Disney does their tickets in terms of, do they have a certain amount they sell for every party, or the one we went to, are there less tickets sold than maybe one closer to Christmas because the crowds increase? I don't know.
I don't know.
But if that's a sold out crowd, that's great. I mean, I think that was fantastic, because I've been to parties that were sold out that were just unbearable. Like, I'm like, why did I spend $130 on this stupid party?
Honestly, there was a Halloween party before COVID. I was like, dude, there's too many people here.
Yeah, I remember waiting. There was a family that waited 2 hours to see Snow White and Seven Dwarfs, which I think they were there this time. I don't know for sure. I didn't see them, but I remember at Halloween party a couple of years ago before COVID. People were waiting 2 and 3 hours to see characters, and it's like, this wasn't worth it. We just paid $700 for a family to go. We met 3 characters and rode 2 rides, and it was just, so this crowd was really, really good. I was a big fan of this crowd as whatever. Overall, of course, as far as my trip goes and experience, of course, I was with the family. We used the DAS Pass, as I mentioned before. We got to ride a lot of things with the DAS Pass. Our kid had a great time. He got to celebrate his birthday while he was there. We had lunch at Sci-Fi Cafe, which was there. And I've mentioned this before, but we have special diets for our child, and a lot of the restaurants, I think, are now really in tune with the special diet need. In fact, Crystal Palace has an entire menu just for special diets. Like, it's a 4-page menu of like drinks they can have, desserts they can have, entrees, like whatever, and it's like a chart that shows you what's gluten free, what's dairy free. It's a comprehensive menu, which I thought was fantastic. I know Rizzo's, which we didn't go to at this time, but Rizzo's over in Hollywood Studios, they have something like that, and I think a lot of these places are going to go to that. I got to do with the family. We did Artist Point with Snow White and the dwarves and the Evil Queen. That was delicious. One thing we did discover with Crystal Palace was that if you're not careful, our kid eats 1 plate of food. He doesn't do buffet. He eats 1 plate of food. They will charge full price for that. They will charge, because he's 11 years old now, so they will charge the full, and it was $60.99. So they charged the full $70 for that. We were like, oh, that's a lot. So we went to Artist Point. We talked to the cast member and simply said, okay, so here's the deal. I know this dinner is like $70, but he's having 1 plate of food. It's a child's portion. We've asked for children's portions. Can you work with us on this? Because that plate of food, which he's only going to eat half of, is not worth $70. Cast member knocked it down to a kid's price. We paid basically $35 for his food. Now, it was 1 plate, and you're paying for the characters too. So
you're paying for the character, right? Exactly.
So if you have special needs and you're having, now I'm not saying like, I'm just not hungry, I only want 1 plate. Can I get this? No. But I mean, if the chef comes out to your table and makes you a special plate of food, like he made our kid chicken, he cooked the carrots perfectly, he ate some mashed potatoes perfectly, 1 plate. Talk to your server. Now, there's a good chance they're going to say, I'm sorry, we can't do anything, but maybe they can. And that's
if they can, that's awesome.
Communicating with a cast member, just making that work, make that happen. One of the things I found, and I want to share this too with about the DAS Pass, and then we'll kind of talk a little bit about your Disney World experience. With the DAS Pass, in terms of the Halloween party, I'm sorry, I keep saying Halloween, the Christmas party, it does work at the Christmas party. Yes. It should be in your app.
Okay.
It should be in your app just fine. Now, with the characters, like let's just say Jack and Sally, or let's say Winnie and Tigger and such, they have longer lines. That is a conversation to have with the cast member. It's not going to be in your DAS. You're not going to be able to look and be like, oh, look, here's the Winnie and Tigger meet and greet for the Christmas party. It's not going to be in the DAS Pass.
Right.
You look and you see the line's long. The line's probably 30 minutes. You're like, my kid will never wait 30 minutes. Talk to your cast member and simply say, hey, we want to meet Tigger and Pooh. My kid's not going to wait 30 minutes. We're not asking to jump to the front of the line. Is there any way that we can come back in 30 minutes or an hour or something and do this, whatever? Cast member might say, no, I don't know, but talk to the cast member. They're going to want to make magic for you. They're going to try. Again, I can't promise you what they're going to say, but there's a good chance they might say, yeah, let's work something out, or let's do it, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or talk to guest services and say, hey, guest services, we're trying to meet some of these characters and we can't. Is there something we can do here? Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing I want to say about the DAS Pass is that when you're doing virtual queue, this is Guardians of the Galaxy. We discovered this.
Yes.
Guardians of the Galaxy, virtual queue with the DAS Pass. Now, the virtual queue is the same thing as a standby line. There is no standby line, so you're basically getting into a virtual queue to get into the standby line, which can be an hour or two wait in that standby line. This is why you pay for the access. If you can afford it, I pay the $14 for the access and just
because it's just
just
easier.
And that's the lightning lane. So if you get in the virtual queue and you have the DAS Pass, and only if you do virtual queue, if you don't get in the virtual queue, it doesn't matter. Get into the virtual queue. You get the callback time. You go back, you talk to your customer and say, hey, we're virtual queue, but we have the DAS Pass. They will work with you and move your time over to the lightning lane right then and right there. This goes for all virtual queues, which will also happen with Tron coming up as well. So if you're on the DAS Pass, if you're on the Special Needs Pass and you need that assistance, talk to the cast member. If and only if you get into the virtual queue,
it's not like, you can go get into the virtual queue because you have the DAS Pass.
You can't just walk and be like, hey, no, it's a 2-hour wait. Can we get this DAS Pass? No, you can't. They'll say, are you in the virtual queue or not? Sorry, there's a lot of people that can't get into it. I'm sorry. So just some little highlights there for you. Jen, your thoughts overall on your Disney World experience. We'll talk to Disneyland.
Disney World, Disney World
highlights for you.
Always, it's like my home away from home. I love it. So of course it was fantastic. I love Christmas, as I keep saying.
Yep.
Christmas decorations on point, also in Hollywood Studios.
Of course.
Because I love the Hollywood Studios decorations, Gertie, like the whole 9 yards. That's like Echo Lake, one of my faves, with all the like kitschy stuff laying around. It was a great experience. Loved being there with the team. I mean, just absolutely probably one of the best team trips ever. And
we have the best team.
I mean
everybody
so
is just so great.
And
I know. Obviously, I'm closer to some than the others, but I love hanging with my people. I love being around my people. They sort of like me, which is nice. And so it's fun being there with your people who get it and who understand it. And when you can openly talk about riding this ride, that ride, whatever, they understand what you're talking about, and so it's just a fun thing. I mean, it really is. It's fun to learn. Of course, we had different, walking tours. We walked through some of the resorts and stuff. And it was Spring Canyon. First time I'd been back there since well before COVID. So that was a lot of fun.
That was great.
And then of course, we did the cookie stroll. I got to do the cookie stroll with a few people. I will say the cookie stroll this year, a little disappointing. The cookies were not as good as last year's. I think last year everybody really got in tune with the cookie stroll, so the cookie stroll at Epcot in World Showcase, the Festival of the Holidays, they give you a list of like 8 or 9 cookies, different booths. You go there and you try those 8 or 9 cookies. They stamp your passport. You come back and you get like a completer cookie and sometimes a little prize. We did it last year, got a little cup, got a little dessert. It was fantastic. The cookies were so great. This year, the cookies weren't as good. I almost feel like Disney's like, oh, a lot of people love this cookie stroll. Let's start mass producing these cookies to get them out there. And they just weren't as good. So
I think everybody was just saying there were a lot of them tasted the same. There was not as much variety as in the past. But
the snickerdoodle cookie that was in Canada looked glorious, had melted chocolate on the top, and it was so good. And I was like, this is kind of dry. Now, my wife Steph said the Linzer cookie for one of the places was really good, but the one at the Contemporary was better. So she is also a cookie connoisseur. But yeah, so Disney World overall, just a great experience. Of course, you flew out to Disneyland. Talk a little bit real quick about Disneyland, the holidays, and you were at the Earmark Summit. So you spent some of your time in seminars, talking, listening.
Yeah, so it wasn't like I was just playing in the parks the whole time,
hobnobbing with the big wigs at the Magical Brouhaha.
Yeah, obviously. No, it was fantastic. And always, Disney, we always say is magical, and it is. Right. And whenever they have conferences and events, of course, they have so many magical moments, to take advantage of. So I was out a day early because I did want to get into the parks a bit. Of course, I was also jet lagged, so I wasn't able to stay as late as I wanted to. Because like 3-hour time difference after coming off of a retreat where we've been up and we've been doing stuff. Obviously, I was like kind of toasted by the end. I was like, oh, I'm so tired. But I got to, first of all, see Disneyland at Christmas for the first time, which was incredible. And again, you have the castle, which their castle, Disneyland Sleeping Beauty Castle, does have the lights, like how they've done in the past for Disney World, which of course not since it's been decorated for the 50th, but the ice castle, which is cool. I mean, it was absolutely gorgeous.
I missed that.
Yeah. And I understand with the 50th, like you couldn't do it. Maybe at some point they'll bring that back.
Right.
Who knows?
Let's hope. Let's hope.
Yeah. But of course, all the garland in wreaths on Main Street. But there are some other things that Disneyland does that Disney World doesn't / can't do, and then vice versa. So what I noticed, first of all, I was like, oh, I didn't get to ride the Jingle Cruise in Disney World. I'm going to go ride the Jingle Cruise. It's not the Jingle Cruise. And Disneyland is just the Jungle Cruise.
Oh, so they don't have any jingle going on.
There's no jingle. There's no holiday overlay on the Jungle Cruise, which is fine because the Disneyland version is different than Disney World version. I was like, oh, that's right. Oh, I forgot this order, like blah, blah, blah. So it was great. It's still great. My must do this time, absolutely, like I have to do it, was Small World Holiday, which if you're watching on YouTube is behind me.
I see that. Yep.
And I have, in fact, I've not even gotten to ride Small World since 2020 because like anytime we've been in Disneyland before that, I'd gotten to ride it some, but if we were over Halloween time, it was always shut down because it was being changed into the holiday version.
Because this is your first time back since 2020, correct?
This was my first
January
time.
2020 at my first agency retreat with Upon a Star Travel.
Correct.
When I met everybody for the first time.
Yes.
And I ended up being with every group that said, we haven't ridden Small World. Let's do it. Let's do it now.
And you rode it like 6 times.
And I rode it 4 times. I rode it four times over 3 days. And I'm like, I'm so tired of riding Small World. This is just, but it's also January 2020, right before everything changed. And I think you got the OG COVID, as did a few other people, like at the very beginning. So
I did. Well, which, of course we didn't know it was OG COVID, but like I kind of knew. I was like,
I remember that phone call because you called me about something like 5 days later. You're like, yeah, this is the first phone call I've made in a week because you were sicker than you had ever been ever.
I've literally never been that sick. That I mean, it was anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, Small World.
Anyway, Small World Holiday.
Rabbit trail, Jen.
So amazing. First of all, the facade lights up. So like, hello. And they put a little Santa hat on the little clock, dude, which is awesome. I also do have some daytime and I have some video that I did post. But when you're going through, I didn't realize the extent. Literally every room has something different. And holiday something, swag, the music, they have fused Christmas carols with the Small World song. Like it's a fusion of songs. I'm like,
that's
what?
Awesome. I love it.
Blew my mind. Like greeting cards as you're coming in, and then like Christmas trees, added Christmas lights, wreaths, and again, like going through all of the different rooms, it was fusions of the songs, and I was just like looking around, and I'm like taking videos and I'm taking photos, and it was fabulous, literally the whole way through. And I also love the Disneyland Small World because it has some of the IP characters put into it, unlike Disney World, which just it has the characters, the dolls. There's a little hidden Mary Blair, but aside from that, we don't have like a Cinderella, we don't have an Aladdin and a Jasmine. Disneyland's in every room. If there is we'll say a princess or a character associated with that country, they're in there. So like Cinderella shows up in France. Whenever you get to one of the ones that has like Australia, whatever, but there's like a seascape at some point, and they put the Little Mermaid in there, even though like, obviously the sea is not a country, but it fits in with, I want to say it's like the Australia, New Zealand, because they're showing like surfers, or like the South Pacific, so they're they have surfers in there, so there's like the underwater scape, and they have that, but then they have snippets of those songs playing, so like a whole new world where you see Aladdin and Jasmine, so when you're like in the Middle East, and so it's like fusions of all of this different music and the lights, and oh my gosh, it was excellent. So
as much as I love that, I don't want that at Disney World. I want that to be a Disneyland exclusive.
If
you want to see it, go there to see it.
Which, and I think I honestly don't think that they could replicate it.
I don't think so either.
In Disney World. Now, flip that. Haunted Mansion in Disney World does not get the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay.
Right.
Disneyland's gets the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay, which I had seen before also, but I mean, and that's great. You get Oogie Boogie, you got Jack and Sally, it's the total fusion in there. And so that's another one where it will go down prior to the holiday season because they have to flip it over and then they have to flip it back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. Well, of course, the line is that Disney World is more of a world traveler park, so they want to make sure they want to have things as normal as possible when it comes to the attractions, because people are coming in once in a lifetime vacations from all over the world versus Disneyland being more of a tourist park.
More of a tour.
I get that. But still, I'm like, how much fun would it be to have an overlay like that at Haunted Mansion?
Right. Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you can turn Space Mountain into a Trans-Siberian Orchestra rave overnight, then why not?
Which, and that's not really affecting
that doesn't take
the
much.
ride as a whole. And then even the Jingle Cruise, like, yes, it's an overlay, but it's a more minimalized overlay. Like, it changes the jokes, but doesn't change the tone of the ride, you know.
Right. So Disneyland at Holiday, you recommend 10 out of 10. You would recommend?
10 out of 10 recommend. It was great. DCA looked great too. They California Adventure. I also got to see the new, of course, the Marvel area, the new Wakanda Forever. You know, they have that new area with Wakanda Forever, and with the you know, the Black Panther, literally like little statue that's all glowy. And we actually had a special event there. I was there after hours at Avengers Campus, got some fabulous pictures.
You get to meet a lot of the heroes, which was cool.
I did.
So, yeah.
I couldn't wait for Cap. I wanted to wait for Cap, but like the line was really long.
Did you see the Radiator Springs Christmas overlay? Did they do that again where they had everything
So I didn't see it at night.
Because
I didn't get there at night was the thing. But from what I understand, I did see Christmassy elements. I'm sure at night it was lit up. I just didn't get to see it.
Awesome.
Because we had evening events.
This is also, I want to make sure that people know, this is the Earmark Summit, the big conference that last year you were recognized, you and the agency itself recognized by none other than Josh Tomorrow, of course, the guy of the Walt Disney Parks and stuff. He's the head honcho of those. We all love Josh. Yeah. And he's the one that called you out and called Upon a Star out as well over all the other agencies. I'm just saying it happened. It happened. I can't change that. It happened. And so, you know, because he loves us. And we love you too, Josh. And Iger, we love you too. So let's make some changes, get rid of park reservations. So anyway, I think that's a great place to stop. I do want to mention this though. These are some of my favorite lines from our Jingle Cruise skipper named Dakota. One of the best ones I have ever had.
Okay.
Here's some of the things she said, pointing out the butterflies. Those butterflies are so realistic, about as realistic as my hair color or my mother's expectations. She also said, up here is the tunnel, which might be the most painful experience you'll have, aside from the rising Disney prices. You can thank one evil bald man for that. Cha-ching. Don't worry, the bugs won't give you jungle fever. I might, but the bugs won't. Also, two more. I know you want to be elsewhere. Me too, but life isn't fair. That's why I'm up here. And finally, it's a take on a joke that I've heard before, but I love her take on it. I know how to get rid of these hungry hippos. Leaning out of the boat, she yells, I love you. I have a baby and it might be yours. Comes back to us. See? Works every time. Fantastic. She was wonderful. So kudos to Dakota out there. Just a great moment. That's great. There's so much more we could talk about. We might tell some more stories later on, but otherwise we'll go forever. But yeah, Jen, where can we find you over this Christmas holiday season?
Yeah, you can find me at Upon a Star Jen, and then my personal Instagram at Jen_Novotny. Sometimes if I get posting on one account, I'll just go throw a post on the other account and be like, yeah, go look at more over here, just because I don't have to like switch back and forth. But yes, right. You can find me.
Of course, find me at the Magic on $1 on Instagram and Magic on $1 and Disney on $1 on Facebook. I'm always trying to be posting there at least once a day on all three platforms, which can get a lot, by the way. Yeah, it gets a lot. But yeah, doing all that, of course, find us at Upon a Star Travel. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram and all those places. And I mentioned that because we've got a lot of great posts going. Yeah. A lot of good tips, a lot of good video, things like that. So we're not just like, hey, come join our team and hey, you need a book here and save us some money. I mean, we're actually throwing up ride stuff and pictures and travel pictures and things like that. So definitely you want to follow that as well. Of course, find the show. The MSC podcast at Gmail. That's our address. .com is our website. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, all those type places. So yeah, great conversation here. We're going to be back next week with our regular Christmas gift episode as we do every year. Going to have some special guests on. Crossing my fingers that we can make that happen, but they'll come on and tell us their overpriced, selfish, grown-up Christmas list for Disney, which is always fun. So until then, I am Dave, and this is Jen. This is the Main Street Electrical Podcast. Thanks for joining us, and hey, don't forget to thank your Phoenicians.
Thank you for listening to the Main Street Electrical Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at the MSE Podcast, or visit our website at themsepodcast.com. Be sure to subscribe, and may all your wishes come true.
true.